And welcome to our second edition of Where Are They Now? As we feature Corsairs from the past who excelled certainly during their careers at Umass Dartmouth and are going on to do great things. My name is Jim Seavey. I'm the Director of Athletic Communications. And it's a privilege to be joined today by one of the all-time greats of Corsair football, Pat Sullivan, who graduated in 2017 and just enjoyed a remarkable career in leading the Corsairs to so many great things, both on and off the field. Pat, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you join us today.
Jim, thanks so much for thinking of me. Thanks to Coach Robichaud for recommending me, and I'm glad to be here.
Well, I had the privilege of seeing you play from afar when I worked over at Mass Maritime, and clearly you were one of the best players to ever come through the MassCAC, certainly on the offensive line. That all started. Let's talk about to start. Let's talk about your high school career, because you certainly played for one of the top, if not the top, high school football program in the state at Everett High School. Your experience preparing, how did that experience playing for one of the great coaches in John DiBiase? How did that experience prepare you for the collegiate level, and what are some of the fondest memories you have of playing for the Crimson Tide?
Oh yeah, in Mass, and I would say in the country myself, there's no better place to grow up and play than Everett. So they say you're not born, you don't use a binky when you're growing up, you use a mouth guard in Everett. So no, when you're growing up and a big kid like me, you just know like football is going to come calling. Those coaches are going to come calling for you when you hit the high school level.
Sure.
I didn't play until high school, but
Really?
yeah, I didn't play. I was too big for the Pee Wee teams and stuff like that. I would have been playing with 16-year-olds and stuff. So I waited till high school and thought I'd start there under Coach Dibb. But we had a good relationship even before I got to high school, because he was my Little League baseball coach actually in 5th and 6th grade. And so that's when I really started like getting into football and stuff. Growing up, it's like a big event. Like the city shuts down for the games. The crowd's packed. The marching band's going, and it's like one of those big like Friday Night Lights events. So all the kids would go to those, and he was my Little League coach, and because his son was on my team, and every time I get a base hit or something, he'd say, "There goes Pat Sullivan, my Heisman Trophy winner." I had no idea what he was talking about. I was just like, he thinks I'm going to be this good at football, huh? But come to find out, there was a Heisman Trophy winner named Pat Sullivan, so he was just referencing that, and from Auburn. And I found that out a few weeks into the season, but I was always like, "Ma, this guy thinks I'm going to be the best thing since whoever, Tim Tebow." And I'm just sitting there like a little Irish kid. But no, so I got to high school and I started playing freshman year and immediately just loved it. You know what I mean? So I made a bunch of good friends my 4 years at Everett High, and it really disciplines you. And it's a program that gets you ready for the college level. It's very structured, the best coaches I would say in the country. And it just ran really well. So I had 3 Super Bowl wins my sophomore, junior, senior year. So they call it a three-peat. Yep, three-peat. Yep. And all of those are special. You know what I mean? So I can call all those my best memory. But really running out of Gillette my senior year, they got Crazy Train going, Ozzy Osbourne, and like it's just a great feeling. You feel like you're one of the Pats. And then we avenge our one loss of that season against Barnstable. And that's got to be the number one memory of that, playing for Everett High under Coach Dibb.
Who did you beat? Who were the other teams that you beat in the Super Bowl?
So my sophomore year, my freshman year, we lost to Xaverian. We got smoked by Xaverian my freshman year, and that was like a wake-up call for the program. And that really set our mindset for the next few years. We were like, we don't want to do that again. We don't want to get there and then just get smoked. So sophomore year, we returned to Gillette and faced the Prep, St. John's Prep.
Okay.
Beat them pretty handily. I was a second string guy then. I played in a few packages, and so it was cool to get out there on the field, but the seniors and stuff that did the work that game. My junior year, we played at Bentley actually, and we beat Lincoln Sudbury. And that was our first year in Division 1A. They bumped us down because our conference wasn't doing too great, our division. And so we played there. I beat Lincoln Sudbury. And my senior year, we beat Barnstable, who I would say that Barnstable team was probably the best team we faced in my 4 years. They were a tough group. And they beat us early in the season, double overtime, and we came back and beat them in the Super Bowl in a very sloppy game, but a win's a win.
A win's a win, and a win at Gillette. That's a memory you'll have with you your entire life. You've got 3 rings.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned you played baseball for Coach DiBiase. Were there other sports that you played growing up?
Yeah. So I played baseball my whole life. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. But I played basketball as well. I was a bench guy. I come in there and take a charge for you. I'd get a couple rebounds. Wasn't a great scorer, but some grit there. But basketball and baseball are really it up until high school. And then once you get to ever high and you play football, it's like, that's what you want to do. That's all you want to focus on. Hit the weights in the off season, get your conditioning in the off season and get to the season. So that's baseball, basketball up until high school. And then really it was, but I can sit here and say, I wish I played baseball and basketball through high school, but focusing on football, you win those championships. You can't really say you have regrets there. You know what I mean?
Well, you'd be the type of player. My wife's a high school basketball coach, and you would be her type of player, the one that does all the little things that don't get noticed.
Exactly. I don't stuff the stat sheet, but I'll help us get a win, hopefully.
Well, that kind of transitions to your role. Everybody hears about the quarterbacks. Everybody hears about the running backs. You never hear about an offense. Obviously there are awards now at the highest level for offensive linemen, and the MASCAC created an offensive lineman of the year award. Yep. You played a position that doesn't necessarily get all the notoriety, so you did all the things behind the scenes. What were some of the biggest challenges you had in your profession at your position? Because you look at the numbers back from when you played, the total offensive number or offense numbers are in the high 4,000s. Approaching 5,000 yards of total offense in 10 games is unheard of.
Yeah.
What were some of the challenges that you prepared that you had to face in those positions at your position, and how did you prepare for those?
So coming in from high school, you go from facing like high school kids, obviously 16, 17, 18, to facing grown men at the college level. And I was thrown right into the fire. Most of us were thrown right into the fire because we had a big class of freshmen that year in 2013. Yeah. And so the biggest challenge was the size difference. The physical differences we saw from the high school to college level was definitely a challenge. Mm-hmm. Playbook, I would say, it's more intricate. It's more in depth. You're facing different fronts. So like in high school, it's easy to predict what you're going to see every play because schools really use the same front every play. That's what they're used to. But in college, it all varies. They do different things, different downs, and they're blitzing here, blitzing there. It's a mind game, really. In college, in college, it's really a mind game compared to high school. So those are two challenges. And to prepare for those, freshman year was tough. We're all getting used to it, thrown to the fire. By sophomore year, we started getting mentally stronger, physically stronger, and we started to even things out. And then obviously by junior year and senior year, we really crushed those challenges. I would say record doesn't reflect it really, but our offense was really rolling, like you said, a lot of yards. And you got to credit who also adapted the playbook, Coach Sylvester. We started off with a power run game when we came in, kind of a power run game here. And he adapted it so that we could get outside zone going. Really, he made the playbook complement our skill sets. You know what I mean? So we were all athletic linemen, and we had good athletes in the backfield, good outside guys. He didn't have us going downhill really as much as he was having us go around the edges, hit the outside zone gap. So he did a good job complimenting his players, and we did a good job hopefully carrying it out.
Well, you talk about that because he adapted to the personnel. Josh and Coach Robichaud and the entire staff. You're right. He went from running the ball all the time to. I remember games when I worked at Mass Maritime. It's like throwing the ball all over the place. I think one year it was like 45-42 or something like that because everybody's throwing the ball crazy. From an offensive lineman standpoint, what are the people really aren't aware of the adjustments that you have to make, not only leading up to the game, but actually in the game.
Oh yeah,
that's the biggest adjustment you have to make. What is the difference as a pass blocker? What's the biggest difference you have to adapt to between a running play and a pass play?
That's also like going back to the mindset thing. So pass versus run. And pass, you're really protecting the guy behind you. You're protecting either was a Corey Byrne most of my career, great quarterback, and you want to keep him upright. You want to keep him clean. So it's really you're trying to read this blitz or this front out, hold your gaps, hold your guy, and make sure he has time to throw. In a run play, it goes from protecting to really attacking. And you want to get physical here and open up gaps. So you're going from sealing gaps up in passing to really opening holes up for run blocks. And it's a mindset thing. Like I said, attacking versus protecting. And it's also a communication thing. So communication, if you see a blitz coming, you got to talk to the guys around you and really just figure out who's filling what gap. In a run play, you got to figure out who's comboing here, who's cutting off the backside, stuff like that. So it's really just a mindset thing, I would say.
I tell you what, in the short few minutes we've been talking here, you're going to make a great coach someday with, with the knowledge that you can pass on to kids.
I can always talk about football.
Absolutely.
No.
I'm going to read to you a list. This is an incredibly impressive list of awards that you received. In 2016, still ranks as one of the most dominant seasons in school history. But I want to read the list of awards that you received that year. The American Football Coaches Association second team All-America, just the second All-American in school history. D3 Football Honorable Mention All-America. A New England Football Writers All-Star, the MassCAC Offensive Lineman of the Year. What do you remember most about your senior year, and who do you credit for helping you earn so many prestigious honors?
Yeah. Well, helping me earn them was obviously the coaches put my name out there and stuff and helped me out with that. And I'm appreciative of all those awards. Thank you for listing them off. And they just really humble you and make you take a step back and be like, did I really do all that to deserve that? And I would say I was a good player. Yeah, I did my job most of the time, and we all have bad stretches of games, bad stretches of plays. But I think that all those individual awards, you can put an asterisk next to it and say the Corsair offense that year, 2016, was just unbelievable. Like, I could open a 2-foot hole and have Eddie Sheridan or Slaughter or Mike Stephen Roy just slip through there. You know what I mean? Me and my offensive line mates. And so I would literally call all those awards team awards. It's the ultimate team sport. And if one guy messes up, we don't gain yards. So it's 11 men out there. And I was lucky enough to have my name out there. Everett guy. I was really a 4-year starter. So I always had that notoriety. But I could have spliced together 5 All-American film sets for the guys, Austin Peters, Mitchens, Mike Tinlin was a beast at right guard. Then you had Jared Stokes, who had a great year that year and didn't really get noticed, but we all noticed it in the film room. You know what I mean? I could have filmed all American footage for all those guys. And without the guys, I don't succeed either. So then you got to credit the guys in the backfield. You got this best running back room. And I would say the country, at least the MassCAC, definitely. Our 4th string running back, Mims, led the team in touchdown. That's how deep we were. Then you had Mitchell at 5th string, who was also good. But those first 3 guys also could have spliced together All-American film. They were just great guys. Slaughter, Roy, and Eddie Sheridan was just unbelievable. Corey Burnham calling the shots. You got good blockers on the outside with Wadsworth and Beardsley and Abbey, and we had a great year.
Slaughter I remember just watching Slaughter when I got to Dartmouth. I reminded him of how many times I watched him not run through people, but run over people. And
different styles. You had Eddie, who would just hit the gap running. Slaughter, who would really run through guys. He was a great blocker. Then he had Roy, who we'd call the professor. He was just great at finding those seams. He was really good at it.
Yeah. Trust me, from the other side of it, you're just watching in awe going, wow, look at these. I mean, look at what they're doing. It's just, it was amazing. I know that you take great pride in the accomplishments that you have on the field. I know that you thoroughly enjoyed the teammates and the coaching and every part about being on the field. But you also look at what you achieved off the field, and it's just as impressive. A Dean's List student, a MassCAC all academic honoree. What drove you to be just as successful in the classroom as you were in competition?
That's something you got to go back to when I was a kid. Just my parents really instilled it in me, and they always said, like, bring home good report cards. They said they instilled the confidence that, you can do this. You can be good at school and on the field and whatever you do. And so having that confidence and also being just competitive with myself, like if I saw a bad grade come back, I'm better than that. You know what I mean? So I always wanted to be as good a student as I could be. And then also just my siblings laying the groundwork. They were always good students. And I was the 3rd child. So I was like, I can't really fall behind them. You know what I mean? I got to at least keep that name going.
There's that friendly competition.
Exactly. That's all it is. So really, that's what it was. And I always had great teachers, and I had great friends to bounce things off of in terms of classwork and stuff like that. So yeah, it always worked out.
Well, another award that you received as a senior, I know carries special meaning and importance to you, Coach Robichaud, and the entire staff. And that was when you received the Jack Daly Award from the Eastern Mass chapter of the National Football Foundation for academic citizenship in football. How important is it to you to set an example for others to follow, and to set and maintain that standard of excellence for the football program?
Yeah, so that award, the Jack Daly Award, I wasn't even aware of it. And Coach called me, I think it was over the winter break, and he said he's gonna put me up for it. Coach Robo, who's just a special person. This guy's just a great guy. And so him and Brian Ego, I think the head of alumni relations, really
Hmm.
set my application up. And well, he's the head of football alumni relations.
Yep.
And they set my application up for me and sent it in, and they asked me a few questions to fill out and stuff like that. And lo and behold, I got the call that I got the award, and I was just very shocked and I humbled by that as well. And I was just proud of myself. And but like you said about setting an example for others, I was never the biggest vocal guy in the room, and I always prided myself on setting a good example both on and off the field. And so that award meant a lot to me because I got to set an example for those kids. I think 60 high school kids got awarded that night as well.
Yep.
And I got to give a speech to those guys and really tell them what to expect in college, how to perform in college, and how to, be yourself in college. So yeah, it meant a lot to me from Coach Robo, Brian Ego, and then obviously the National Football Foundation for giving me that Grenoble chapter.
Well, I remember the speech. I remember it well, and I remember turning to the executive director, Roger Crosley, and saying, "This young man is going places." And from where you're speaking on the dais, you're looking right over the other the scholar athletes that are being honored that night from the high schools, and you have 60 set of eyes pinned on you, just kind of listening to everything you're saying and absorbing it. You can see the impact that it made, and that had to be a very special feeling to you, that knowing that you're one of those, you were one of those kids not too long ago.
Yeah.
And listening to that had to be an amazing feeling.
Oh yeah, and I appreciate what you just said, that I'm going places. Hopefully that's true. But yeah, those 60 kids, I was in their place just in 2013, just set 4 years prior from when I was receiving that award. And I wished I had someone like myself to really tell them what to expect. And I hope they took something from it. Maybe they didn't, maybe they didn't. But I thought I gave some good advice for them. And I followed a few of them actually. I see them on Twitter sometimes doing good things, and that just goes to show that the chapter really picked some good guys that year.
I think Burkhead might have been Jake Burkhead might have been part of that group. He was one of the in 2016, 17. Yeah.
I think he has like a 4.0 GPA. I go to I watch some of the games on, whether it's online or I went to the homecoming game. He flies around out there. He's a good kid as well. I met him that night. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a great kid, great family, and you remind me a lot of him. Absolutely, you do. You've talked about Coach Robichaud. You've talked about Coach Sylvester. When you look back at your career,
Yep.
who are the people that had the biggest impact on you on the field and off the field? Because I'm sure there were faculty members, there are other people that you looked to that helped you along the way, that certainly made an impact as you went through your collegiate journey and now are on your life's journey.
Yeah. So on the field, it's got to be, obviously you can say everyone. You can say the coaches, the players. The coaches really make a strategy for you. They install the game plan, and us players carry it out, make the adjustments with the coaches and stuff during the games. If I had to pinpoint a few people on the field, obviously Corey Byrne, the signal caller behind us, always a great job in the huddle and stuff for leading us, and you always wanted to play in front of him. But most of my career, the guy next to me, the left guard, was Austin Peters, and who just passed the bar exam actually. So congratulations!
Okay. Congratulations, Austin.
But we just had a calming presence whenever we were together. We just knew what to expect and what to do. So sophomore year, it started out, we'd scream combo calls together and stuff. But by senior year, we were like, if we saw a blitz coming, we'd be like, Peters, you see this? And he'd say, yeah. And we just read it out and block it up. So I always felt good with him next to me, and we always worked well together. But then obviously the rest of the line mates as well. Off the field, you got to say, my parents, my roommates and stuff. So Corey Byrne was my roommate as well. Stokes was a roommate. Friend Nate was a roommate. It was good to bounce things off and then always keep the mind clear from classwork, from balancing the busy schedule we had, and then always calling home parents and stuff. Just having that support system, always good to have.
Absolutely, they're the big influence. You're right. The support system is huge. It's crucial, especially with trying to balance balance all the responsibilities that come with being a student athlete.
Yeah.
How did UMass Dartmouth education prepare you for life after graduation?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I'll say there is it prepared me to not be afraid to ask for help, because when I was struggling in class, my professors would always have open office hours, and I just pop in and stay for an hour or two, honestly, and review the work. So they're always helpful in that regard, and it prepares you for work and stuff. So if you work in an office, you work as a teacher or something like that, you're not afraid to go ask for help from someone else. You know what I mean? Um, it also exposed you to kids from different cities, different towns, different states, different countries. So you're really absorbing all this information from diverse communities and backgrounds, and it shapes who you are as a person, because, well, living on campus, you're living on your own now. You get to bounce ideas off people, they bounce ideas off you, and it really shapes who you are, and it gets you prepared to take on the world, not just really stay back to where you're from.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I think one of the great things about higher education is the diversity that brings, diverse backgrounds, diverse, you have people coming in from all over. You've been in, growing up in Everett, you're with your friends and family there, but now it's a whole new world coming at you. So I'm sure a lot of their experiences help transcend to yours as well.
Oh yeah, of course. They always did. And I'm friends with all these people from different backgrounds. You know what I mean? I still see them,
Absolutely.
yeah, from time to time. But right
Even
now,
your rivals, even Zavarian or the prep kids, or my wife coaches at Bridgewater Raynham. I don't know if you got any Bridgewater Raynham friends. So.
nope, never the prep, never Zavarian. I'm just, I have family from there actually, from those schools. But no, you make good friends. You make great friends that will last a lifetime. And unfortunately, you can't see them with the circumstances right now with COVID, but we still keep in touch, and it's just great to really expose yourself to people like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know you just completed your MBA. You're looking forward to the next chapter of your career.
Yeah.
What was the biggest difference as you went through your studies? What was the biggest difference between your undergraduate studies and your graduate studies?
So yeah, well, my undergrad was obviously in person, living on campus, and my MBA program was all online, and obviously it finished up online with COVID hitting. And so I just finished that this past fall. I got my degree this past fall, and so that was definitely worthwhile. But I would say, really, my undergrad, I had friends in the classes, and you were in person, you were talking to each other and
Sure.
studying together and stuff like that. And the MBA was really a lot more individualized. You were doing research on your own. But I can say individualized, but it's also a lot of collaboration projects and stuff with the MBA. So you're calling other people and working through Zoom and stuff like that, making presentations to present to class and stuff. So I would say the difference is really just having those people to bounce things off of in my undergrad, and being able to see your professors in person and talk to them and pick their brains, versus really my online MBA. I mean, they're both very rewarding, both time consuming and both tough, but you learn a lot. But my MBA was obviously online, and
Yeah.
you're doing a lot more individualized stuff.
Well, and that brings me to my next question, and it's really I think one of the things that I hear athletes talk about all the time is that being a student athlete, no matter the sport, just it makes you prepare different life skills
Yeah,
than where you're going to class, you're going to practice, you're going to film session, you're doing every other things, plus you're being a normal college student.
yeah.
How did you balance that rigorous schedule, and what were some of the life skills that you took from that experience that you use most often now?
Oh yeah. So my undergrad, it's a lot more classwork, and you have football as well. My MBA program, I was teaching. I was teaching at a school in Everett, my 2 years there, and coaching football. So it was really balancing that stuff. But the things you take from it is, as a student athlete and then working and going to school, is really prioritizing your time management, discipline, stuff like that, commitment, accountability, meeting, like punctuality, meeting certain due dates. You learn all that through sport. You learn all that through classwork, working. It's just life skills that you're going to take with you forever. But discipline through sports is definitely the number one thing I would say. You learn from it, you take from it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's something that, as you said, you've applied and will certainly serve you well as you continue on.
Yep.
You mentioned before, certainly the restrictions that we've all been under over the last 9 months or so, dealing with the pandemic.
Yeah.
What are you looking most forward to in a post-COVID world?
It's a loaded question. There's a lot of stuff you want to look forward to after that. But so definitely finding, something I enjoy to do for work. Finished my MBA recently. And I was teaching for those years, and I just finished all that up this past fall, and it's tough to, find the right fit for me through all of this. Not being worried about leaving your house, wearing a mask or whether
Yes.
you're sick or not, going to the store, bringing it home to your family and stuff like that. Definitely, that's a big one. Enjoying time with friends. I want to travel. Like me and my girlfriend were talking about traveling somewhere, and you definitely want to do that. And it's COVID. COVID's tough to get through with, all those restrictions. Just really enjoying things we might have taken for granted before this all started. That's just what I'm looking forward to.
That's a great point. I don't think anyone from this point forward is going to take anything for granted.
Oh yeah.
That you wouldn't even give a second thought to it this time last year.
Yeah.
And now it's like you can't wait to do it again, no matter if it's mundane or whether it's just something enjoyable. It's
Yeah.
nobody's gonna ever take that for granted.
No.
My last question, Pat, is what's the best advice you would give a student athlete who's just beginning their collegiate experience?
Yeah. So time flies, and everyone says that. It definitely does. So I would say try to be as present as you can. It's tough sometimes if you have stuff going on at home or stuff going on in class. I would say when you're at practice, be at practice mentally. When you're in class, be in class. All your focus is going to be where you're at, because it's easy to just get sidetracked and the years fly by. So that's one thing I learned. I always say no regrets, but I do wish I cared about those certain reps at practice sometimes, or cared about that certain assignment in class, because being present's a big thing, and you want to really to take all you can out of the experience. So I would say to those kids, give everything you do in your all, and don't have your mind float somewhere else when you should be really focused on what's in front of you.
It's so great to hear you say that, because one of my favorite sayings is enjoy the moments before they become memories.
Oh yeah.
And it sounds like that, as great of an experience as you had as a student athlete, that there's always something to look back. I wish I did this, but
Yep.
That's amazing advice to give to prospective student athletes or to incoming coursers coming in all sports.
Yeah.
Pat, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed this conversation. I again, had the privilege of watching you play on the other side, and you're just such an impressive young man who is definitely going to many, many great places. Congratulations on your career. Congratulations on earning your MBA, and you are a tremendous ambassador for not only the football program, but for Umass Dartmouth as an institution. So congratulations and everything. I thank you again for your time, and I wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and the best of the holidays.
Jim, I thank you. Congrats on your new job at Umass Dartmouth. You just seem to be doing a great job. Hope you're enjoying it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I am.
I want to thank Coach Robershot as well, putting my name out there, recommending me. All those coaches, all great guys. Umass Dartmouth is a great spot, and I want to wish everyone there happy holidays as well. Happy New Year.
Well, Pat, thank you again, and we look forward to seeing great things from you going forward. So thank you, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Talk to you.